Hi guys, good afternoon. I'm over here pet sitting with Gavin's girlfriend. Why? What? This is Sophie. Actually, her real name's Sophia. She's a Rhodesian Ridgeback. I don't know if you guys can see. Oops. There you go. There's her little ridge. She's all curled up. Sophie. Oh, what's up? We're just taking a couple minutes of a break before we go for our walk. And then you go walk with your boyfriend Gavin. Yeah, they're so cute together. Like they're both like, I always call them like red dog crew, because you know Gavin's like a reddish color and Sophie's a reddish color too. So I don't know, they have such cute personalities, both of them. Unfortunately, they're both fixed, spayed and neutered, so they can't have any more puppies. Let me see if I can. But so we're over here pet sitting her. Let's see if she can stay in the shot, kind of. Anyways, so today's video, is it today? I guess. I'm gonna talk about how it's been little over 3 months of doing the van life. So we left our house April 3rd. So I went back to van life, and Jeff joined me doing van life along with Kaylee, and Gavin technically went back to van life in a way. And so it's been April, May to June, July, a little over 3 months. And so I thought it was gonna be like a hard adjustment. I thought, oh my gosh, because I've done van life, me and Spike, for a couple years. And when I got Gavin, he came and lived the van life with me and Spike. We all did fine, you know. So I thought, oh my gosh, how's it gonna be with Jeff? How's it gonna be with Kaylee too, my husky, and being a puppy? And I have to admit, it's actually worked out like way better than I could have thought. I guess me always is a pessimist. I always think like the worst, and then if it turns out okay, it's always like a relief. It's always like, what? It actually worked? I guess some people are total optimists. I'm like the opposite, you know. I didn't want it to fail for us, but I just wasn't sure. You know, I thought it was going to be probably the hardest on Jeff, because he always had a house. You know, he never really lived not in a house. You know, he always pretty much lived like at his parents' house. So he pretty much always grew up like in a house, you know, even though it was a small house, but he still always lived in a house. I've lived everywhere. Like, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know, I lived in a bus before, a shuttle bus. For a couple years, I've lived out of my car. Even growing up when I was a kid, we had to live out of the car for a short while. I've lived in apartments, I lived in townhomes, I've lived in huge houses. I've lived in everything, really. So to me, it doesn't matter, you know. So it's been really like good, actually. I feel like now we're more a family. I feel like we're more connected. I feel like we kind of communicate better. I feel like Jeff and I definitely have less stress on us. So basically, bottom line, van life saved our family and saved our sanity, you know. I don't know how long it'll always be this way. Maybe it's still the honeymoon phase of it. But I think it's been really nice to have a lot less stressors. I think it's been nice just to have our lives more simple, where it's like we do our work and then we spend all the time with our dogs. Taking care of the van is like not that hard. It's, you know, make sure it's just clean and, you know, sweep it out once a week, dump the toilet once a week, and and obviously you kind of clean up and put things away like almost every day, or everything has to have its exact spot. Jeff will always be like, where is this? Where's that? I'm like, did you put it back in its exact spot? because it has a spot. Everything has a spot where it has to go, so you can find it later, and so it's not falling out the door, every time you open a door. So everything has to have a spot. It has to go right back to that spot. So it's kind of nice to always like have everything super organized and be able to find everything like in a snap, and it's been nice to try to keep streamlining what is in the van and knowing like, hey, we haven't used this item this whole week or in 2 weeks. Okay, it could go out. So it feels good. I feel like I'm getting back to being more minimal like I used to be. I still feel like it's really hard because of 3 dogs, Jeff and I. So we're gonna have a lot, and we have our jobs, and then I have stuff for work kind of. So I am always trying to downsize and get rid of more things in the van right now. Storages, we'll deal with that a little bit later. And it's been nice not to have as many bills that come with having a house or an apartment. It's been nice, like, okay, in a house or apartment, it's what do you want to eat for dinner? Who's gonna make it? Who's gonna do the cleanup? Oh, there's a pile of dishes all the time in the sink. So in a way, it's been nice just to be able to afford just to eat out anywhere, anytime, pretty much. Even though it's always like, I know we should start saving our money and eating out is expensive. But where I live, a bag of groceries can cost $40, which could be, depending on what you buy, yeah, maybe that could be like 2 or 3 meals worth. But, food spoils a little bit quicker in the van than at home in a way. So, and I don't really want to sit and eat cup of noodles and rice and beans all the time, It's good to have variety. So, probably gas and eating out are our biggest expenses, and everything else are our basic bills that we've always had, like car insurances, business expenses, the dog's vet plans, and just like those little bills that you always have kind of. So it feels good to always kind of have money just to go pay that stuff like really easily or have it on auto pay. It's nice that the van isn't so much to have to clean, and it's like you don't waste any time to like clean it. Like it's just not like, oh, I have to, like when you have a house, it's like you have to dedicate time or you have to do a little bit every day. Whereas a van, it's like, oh, we can just sweep it out once a week. I mean, really, we probably should be sweeping it out more often, but I feel like, okay, if I at least get to it once a week, good enough, It's not gonna ever be like perfect. We have 3 dogs. We drive with the windows open all the time. So what a little dust. I'm not worried about those things, As long as everything's kind of put away, and that's all that really matters to me, kind of. And taking out the trash is easy because it's like 1 small little bag. Actually, maybe like 2 small bags, like a week, maybe, if that. So that's, I guess, mainly because we do eat out a lot. But it feels good to not use as much water, because when you live in a house, you can waste a lot of water. So I feel good that we're conserving more water. And we have less trash, because I feel like in a house, you're always buying things. There's always a ton of things with a ton of packaging. So I feel like we buy less things, and therefore there's less waste, which I feel like I'm helping doing my little part to save the environment a little bit. But it just feels good that, we kind of always have the dogs with us. It's always so easy to just take care of their needs, at any moment. Like, oh yeah, we need to feed them. Let's go feed them right now. Oh, look, we have some time to kill in between our clients. Hey, let's go stop by the park. Oh, let's go brush them. It's so easy just to always have them with us and always get to spend that time. I feel like they are way better behaved now. I don't know if it's because they're a little bit older now, but I feel like they're so much more better behaved. I think too, because we've just spent so much more time with them, and we're always getting out, and we're always making sure to walk them at least. We try to at least do a minimum of 1.5 hours, if not like 2 hours, maybe some days 3 hours. It just depends how our schedule is or the weather. So it does feel good that we're always getting them walked, and I guess we feel really guilty living in the van. Like we're more like, we have to make sure to get them out and get them walked, Sometimes we break it up into a few walks a day, but it feels good even just go to the park and explore. It's like we're outside more. We get out more. we feel like we're part of the world around us. And it's like, I feel like we have a little bit better of a natural circadian rhythm with the earth, I guess. Even though we kind of go to bed later than I'd like, and we wake up a little bit later than I'd like, but we'll get there one day. It's hard. We work a lot, kind of, so our schedules change all the time, so it's kind of hard. We roughly go to bed around 11-ish, sometimes a little bit later, sometimes a little bit earlier, and then we wake up maybe 7-ish, maybe 8-ish. Kaylee wakes up at 5 in the morning no matter what time we go to bed. She just does. Luckily, she doesn't really wake us up. She just wakes up and stares at us. Because there's a few times I've caught her and she just stares at us. It's the funniest thing, and then she blows her hot breath on Jeff and stares at him because he sleeps closest to her crate. So that's pretty funny. I hate the heat as it is, so that's the only thing I feel like right now that like sucks about being in the van is when it's hot. But it does cool down a lot faster than houses and apartments we've had, so that's kind of nice. Or we can just like park somewhere else, or get out of the van and go hang out in the shade at the park or something, so it's not too bad where we live. It feels good not to have to watch our money like as closely or be like, oh, we can only do this or this because money wise. So it's kind of nice to kind of always have like money and not worry about it too much. I think it is a little bit easier this in some ways to have two people when you do van life. I mean, there's a trade up to that because it's always like your schedules, and if you have one van and then the other person has another car, then you're always having to like meet up and having two cars park for the night, or leave one car somewhere and drive the van or the other car. So that kind of stuff can get like tricky. Then you're paying double in gas because it's two vehicles, and double in insurance. So, but then in some ways you have double the money if anything goes wrong on the van, or you want to say get new tires. You guys can go halves on things like that. That can be very costly. So in some ways it's kind of nice that way to kind of go halves on things, because you really should, because you both live in the van, just like as if you had a house. You both would be paying half of utilities, half of any furniture, anything you would buy, and it feels good to just have more time in our day, even though we're busier, I feel like, than when we had a house. But I feel like even if like we like to, let's say, watch YouTube, okay, we both are pretty addicted to that in a way, but we don't watch that. It's like a little bit, like here's a video, and then maybe a couple hours later we'll watch a video. And what's each video? Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 11 minutes long. Like, yeah, that can add up in a day. But when we had a house, Jeff would watch TV almost like 6 hours a day, almost, because it'd be like a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours at night. Then if he had a Saturday or Sunday off, it would kind of be like all day. It could, which sometimes that's nice, but you're just like wasting so much time just with what was on TV. So I think Jeff misses TV the most, and everyone's like, are you gonna put a TV in the van? No, I don't want a TV in the van, because it's like better to do other things to be more productive. Like, even doing creative stuff, like even always doing something different. Like you can read, you can draw, you can do art, you can color, you can do projects, you can work on the van. It always has something that needs to be painted or done too, or some little tweaks or something, You can get out of the van, you can go for a hike, you can go do other stuff, and I think it's definitely brought us like closer to nature. And I feel like we don't fight as much. I don't know if it's because partially we don't have as many stressors that you do like in a house or an apartment. I feel like we don't have the argument of who's going to do dishes anymore, or whose dishes is that, or who's going to take out the trash. It's like a lot easier. Like even if I take out the trash, it's like not that bad of a chore. Or if I have to sweep out the floor, it's like takes just a couple minutes. It's like not that bad, so it's like doable, sometimes it's nice to like kind of feel more connected, like we do things more together, whereas like with a house it'd always be one person ends up being lazy and then the other person's doing all the work, and then like you just fight and it sucks, or who's to do what, or one person doesn't do something right. So in the van you don't really seem to have that problem for some reason, you know, at least we don't seem to. I feel like it definitely has helped our relationship. Like before, I think living in a house, it was so bad between Jeff and I to where it almost was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I almost don't even want to be with you. Like I can't stand how it was for us. I don't want to get into details, you know, but in the van, I feel like, well, I guess I could keep doing this. This is working out pretty good so far. She like heard something outside. Oh, what do you hear? She kind of has like a serious looking face. Yeah, so I just realized I was doing this video and that side window's open. Oh. Anyways, yeah, so I don't know, it's just like everything's kind of just been a lot better, a lot easier, and I'm glad it's like worked out, because part of me was always like, oh my gosh, what is it gonna be like? And I told Jeff I'm kind of proud of him for lasting a lot longer than I thought he was going to, because like I thought maybe he'll last maybe 2 months, and I thought that's it, because I know what the first 2 to 3 months of me living in the bus was like. And I mean, that was it's a different ball game kind of, but I knew what that was like. But I was by myself and we had storms and my bus was leaking and it was freezing cold, and I had problems with the solar, and I had like nothing really worked in it, and so it was totally different, you know. I think it is a lot easier when one person already has lived this lifestyle and the other person like comes along. I think it's like way easier. I mean, I'm sure I'd venture if you guys decide to do it together and never did it before, but it definitely is easier if one person's been more a nomad, you know, or already been doing it for a while, and then the other person comes and joins them, you know. I think it's a lot easier as far as even daily stuff like doing laundry. You know, before like our laundry would pile up and it would be such a chore to do it and have to like lug it into the vehicle, take it to the laundromat, or at home there would always be something wrong. The dryer isn't working, the washer doesn't work now, and you would still have to end up taking it to the laundromat. And so it's like so much easier now, even just doing laundry, you know, like we just put our clothes in the suitcase. So once our clothes are dry, we just pull out our suitcases, pull everything out of the basket at the laundromat, and then just fold it up and put it right into the suitcase and bring it back into the van. So even random things like that are just so simple. I feel like our life is so much more organized. I definitely feel like we have more time in our day, you know, and I feel like we're both more relaxed, you know. I feel like the only biggest stressors are, oh, where should we eat? There's the where you want to eat, but you're like, we should just stop spending that much on food all the time and cut back a little bit and on spending. And then I think the other is always, where are you gonna park? Where should we park tonight? Where do you want to park? And if you're kind of tied to one place because of your jobs, it makes it a little bit harder. But in some ways it makes it easier because you already know that area. But it's harder because if you want to go venture other places, you kind of have to be in a certain area for a while, you know? So, and it depends what that area is. Sometimes, like where we live, they're starting to kind of crack down a little bit on RV parking and more overnight parking, I would say. We're starting to see more signs coming up. Sometimes we find streets and we're like, how has not the RVers like found these streets? So the people in RVs are pretty much the ones that like will sit on the street for weeks and months and never move. So they're like ruining it for everybody. But luckily I have a van that blends in and we can park it anywhere. We never really have problems. We never get harassed. Nothing like that. I was knocking on some wood. I think for the dogs, it's been like an easy adjustment. I don't think they really. I think sometimes they get tired because it's like constant stimulation, like always going and doing. So I think sometimes they probably get tired, but we try to have some days where we don't drive as much or we don't do much, or we try to kind of be a little bit lazy, or if we didn't have that much work, we'll just like kick it in the van and stuff, or just go to the park and lie around or something like that. So we try to sometimes when we can just have a day where we don't really do much, to keep them just rested, or we try to go to bed early, or sleep in if we can a little bit, or just so they can sleep in basically, but I feel like they're like the most well-rounded dogs. I don't know if because they kind of already were, or I think also because of our lives, like always on the go pretty much, and because they always come with work, they always come to work with me, or Jeff even, so they get like constant, they're pretty much always like with us, and we have outside jobs, so it's kind of even greater because they can just come with us and be with us, so they're usually, there's times where we do leave them back in the van, maybe at night, like if we go shopping or something when it's cooled down, or early in the morning or something. So we do try to have, a little bit of time where we're not with them, because that's healthy for a dog, but maybe that's only like, I don't know, maybe half an hour, maybe 2 hours most, or if we are at a job, they have to stay back in the van, and it's like not that problem. They're like, it's no different than if they had to stay back at home, and I think too, it's been nice because they always come with us all the time, whereas when we had a house, it was just so easy to leave them at home. Normal routine. You just leave them at home and you're like, okay, see you in a couple hours, bye. And then you always come home tired, and they're always like climbing the walls and you're too tired to exercise them, or you're always making an excuse. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's cold. Oh, they can just run around the yard or the house, But when you live in the van, you feel guilty. So, like you got to get them out because they, it's just better for you both. So I feel like more calm, and I feel more at ease about a lot of things in life, I feel more zen, I would say. And I feel like my mind is more alive and more creative. And yeah, definitely been doing like a lot more thinking about the future and things, and not really so stagnant, It's been nice definitely too to like downsize everything, because like in a house or even an apartment, it's so easy to be like, just buy another pair of shoes. So before you know it, you have like 5 pairs of shoes. You don't need that many really, or you have several coats because you have the room, because you have a coat closet, so it's kind of nice to really just, I do better with less things. So it's been nice for me in that sense to be like, oh, there's no room ever. Oh, well, I better get rid of a jacket. I better get rid of a sweatshirt, because really you just need 1, maybe 2 of almost most things, so that's kind of been really nice too. It's been nice to like kind of have less responsibilities, I guess, because like you don't have a house or apartment to take care of and maintain, and not as many things that you have to buy. Like it's really minimal for the van, like as far as even like household items like cleaners or light bulbs or toilet paper or paper towels, like all those things. I feel like we go through like significantly less amount of those things. So that feels good too, because or we save in one department, you end up spinning in another kind of, you know. Yeah, it's kind of cool, like always being in different areas. Like now, I don't understand how, like there are some people that live in RVs, for example, and park in the same one spot all the time. I understand it costs a lot to move those vehicles, and maybe they don't run the best, but how could they not even go like a few blocks every couple days? Or a couple days, move a couple more different blocks, you know? It's just like, I guess it's kind of sometimes nice to have a couple different places, you know? And I don't know now if I could ever go back to like the same one spot all the time. I think it would feel like kind of weird, you know? Like it's kind of nice to always like be somewhere different. You know, it gets tiring and draining, but it kind of feels good too to like always, because every place has like a different way the sun comes up, you know, or a different smell of the air, or different things look out your window when you wake up, you know, or before you go to bed, you know. So it's kind of cool to always, like, your view always changes, you know, like that's why you don't need TV. Like the outside world around you becomes your TV, you know. And my dogs like love to watch that. Like they love to like people watch, and to watch other dogs walking by, and kids and birds and wildlife and things like that. So that's what's kind of like really cool about it too, because like in a house they just have what's in their backyard, maybe what's out the front window, you know. But it's kind of cool because like in the van they can look out like any window at any point, no matter where we're at. So their scenery is always like changing, you know, and they get out in and out like all so many times in a day. So then you're always working with training, like to sit and to do this and down and stay. And then when we go out to eat, like we'll sit on the patios at a lot of restaurants. So they come out and sit on the patio with us, you know. So a lot more opportunities to work on their training with them. And I think they're just like so much better behaved because we're like always with them, you know, and we're always interacting with them and stimulating them, and they get enough exercise in a day, and we're taking them hiking, and we're taking them to the beach. So it's like we're doing a lot more of that. So that's been really good too for them. Yeah, it's been good too. Like you can always change your environment easily. So if you're in some neighborhood and there's a ton of fireworks like going off, you can just drive away and go park somewhere else. Whereas if you lived in an apartment or a house, you'd be subjected and stuck to listening to that and letting your dog have to listen to that for who knows how long, right? So in the van, you can just turn the key and go park somewhere else, you know. Those sort of things are pretty nice, you know. But yeah, so it's been really good for the last like a little over 3 months, and I'm really proud of Jeff. He's done really good, especially for being someone who's all about the house. Some mornings I know it gets to him, but he's never been a morning person. He's always hated mornings. So I think the kid outside. The kid outside sounded like he said he's putting the poop in the basketball. That's what I thought I heard. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounded like he said. I was like, what? Anyways, okay, like my ADD is kicking in. All right, I guess because I'm feeling bad already, taking up you guys this much time, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this, and that we probably will be continuing van life. It's been pretty good so far. And are we gonna get a bigger van? Are we gonna keep my van? I don't know. We'll see. We'll kind of got a couple of things we've been thinking about. But thank you guys always for watching. Do you like this video? Give it a thumbs up. Bye guys.